All right, welcome everyone. This is Siwon Yi, and thank. Can someone uh, unmute yourself? I hear some background noise. Well, thank you for attending, Pasadena City College students. Thank you for attending this 3-hour Zoom class. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day on a Saturday morning. Nice weather, finally. Spring's coming, so we are all itching to experience the outdoors finally, and after uh, being relegated to the pandemic. So things are looking bright, literally and figuratively speaking. So again, this is Siwen Yi, and I'm talking to you from San Francisco Bay Area. And again, this webinar will cover many things about real estate investing. We could cover out-of-state investing, and I'll show you why anybody can succeed regardless of where you live physically. Uh, you can become very successful in real estate investing over time if you find the right system that works for you. All right, we can talk all about that. Again, the agenda for this is I'm going to finish my 2-hour presentation with plenty of time left for Q&A between 11:30 to noon time. So when you ask me Q&A, you can open up your video, you can show yourself, and we can talk about on audio, on video as well. All right. All you have to do is unmute yourself. All right. So the agenda, once again, we could talk about real estate investing, especially buying out of state, and how the real estate landscape has changed dramatically. So as a potential investor, I don't know what your experience and your background, but I'm going to assume that most of you are sort of a newbie, sort of a beginner in real estate investing. Some of you may own your principal home in Southern California or wherever you live. I cannot assume that all of you live in Pasadena, because people nowadays, we can live anywhere we want and work anywhere we want and have the ability to work remotely, and which is a game changer, right? Working from your home, working remotely is a total game changer, and real estate investing is really no different. So as human beings, whether you're a beginner or not, whether you're experienced investor or not, the information you're going to learn potentially is very powerful, is very practical. So everything I'm teaching you, I have done myself personally, and also I have helped hundreds and hundreds of real estate investors to buy investment properties all over the US for the past 15 years. So I've been there, done that, went through all the real estate cycles, make some mistakes, make some, and learn from it. And hopefully I could impart upon my wisdom and knowledge to ensure that you moving forward does not make the same mistake that I made. So, right. But regardless, if your motivation is to achieve financial freedom through real estate investing, and so hopefully you can be in the right place. Everything I'm going to teach you is very, like I said, very realistic, very practical, is the real thing. But one thing I want to remind you that I for this webinar, I'm not allowed to promote my personal services, right? And so do not ask me any questions about what I do or those kind of things. But at the end, after this webinar, you can do whatever you want. By the way, I have your email. I will send the recording video to you, and also unless you tell me not to, with the email you provided, I'm going to put your email into our weekly newsletter database, so you can obtain free list information through your email. All right, that's it. No one gonna solicit you, nothing like that, right? It's some good free content about what's going on in all aspects of real estate investing, and then that's how it goes. All right. So, okay, thank you so much. So let's proceed. All right. So really, I know physically you have to, again, I should adapt to what's going on. If you have your ability to adapt and adjust to changing scenarios, you will become successful. So physically, you live in wherever, Southern California, but you have the ability to buy anywhere, to buy anything, real estate included, out of your area. So live where you want to live, buy investment properties where the cash flows and numbers and the price make sense. All right. So, and because as we know, California is the pretty much the most expensive real estate in the country, really, right? So I mean, the average price of a home here in Bay Area where I live is around $1 million. Some areas in the Bay Area or some zip code or even more. And Southern California is really no different. In Pasadena, I would say the median price for home in Pasadena right now is probably, I don't know, I could be wrong, around 700,000, 750. So, so it's very, very difficult to buy a rental property in our local backyard, right? So having said that, you need to explore the possibility of buying outside where you live, buying an investment property where it will cash flow and where you can, you have a good return, right? You have a good long-term growth of your rental properties. So the way, here's my philosophy. Now, some of you, I don't know, I mean, what's your financial situation, but potentially in order to achieve financial freedom using real estate, if you want real estate passive income to replace your working income, either wholly or partially, is a matter of buying more than one rental properties. You have the ability, again, given your financial resources that you all have, I don't know your situation, the goal is to buy really multiple properties on a systematic basis, all right? I'm teaching you from a high level right now. I'll give you more details as we proceed with this presentation. I say it again. In order to achieve any resemblance of financial freedom down the road, you need to challenge yourself and find some ways to buy multiple properties, especially out of state, right? Okay, so I'm not asking you, although buying at least one, that is a win for you, right? That's a success for you. But if you have the courage and the commitment, if you can overcome fear, you have the ability to buy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 rental properties or even more. And the key is you don't even have to manage those properties. You could do it part-time. In fact, because I'm going to teach you where you're going to allow the property managers and those real estate team out there to help you take care of your properties, right? You don't even have to. It's really passive. I mean, you buy the property 100% under your name, really, right? 100% under your name, you're gonna, and all that. So once you create a 3 or 4 or 5 property investment portfolio in next 1 year, for example, you do not need to look out for your property full time, not even part time, maybe 1 or 2 hours per month. That's all you need, the time you spent, whether you have 5 rentals out of state or 10 or 15 or 20. Okay. Okay. Some of you are thinking, oh, this is too unrealistic. No, it's not too unrealistic. It has, people have done it in the past. People are doing it right now. People are going to do it even more moving forward, because I'll tell you why, right? In this day and age, it's very much doable. You will be able to have achieved multiple streams of income, buy multiple properties in different locations in the US, and of course, I'm gonna show you where, and then live off the passive income, hold the property long-term primarily, right? The goal is hold the property long-term, although you can sell it anytime you want, but it's a long-term investment, and the time, you do not need that much time to look after your real estate portfolio. Does it sound good? Okay, I know you can't say anything right now, but It's very much doable, okay? It takes a lot of effort, a lot of discipline, and a lot of focus, but it's very much doable. You're not going to be a so-called landlord, right? You're not going to be a landlord. You will be a real estate entrepreneur. The landlord part of it will be taken care of by the property managers. They will do all the dirty work for you, right? Okay. All right. This is exciting. I know some of you are thinking this is really, really off the wall thinking, but this system really works. I'll show you how throughout the presentation. Okay. So without further ado, let's continue. All right. All right. So current condition. All right. Current condition is there's a lot of people are renting. So your goal is to find a rental property where there's a lot of renters that will rent your property, right? Your tenant, your renter gonna pay down your mortgage. They're gonna make you rich, really, right? You buy property, right? And the tenant gonna pay off your property. See, if you find some great tenants, they will do everything for you. It's just that simple. The tenant gonna offset your mortgage on that rental property. They're gonna offset your monthly taxes, your monthly insurance, your property management fee, and whatever vacancies or maintenance and upkeep that you are going to incur. The rental income, the tenant gonna take care of that. Is it amazing? This is just a amazing process. So that's how it goes. Over time, in 30 years or less, assuming you could get a 30-year mortgage, if you hold the property for 30 years or less, your tenant gonna pay down your mortgage. As a matter of fact, if you have the ability and the discipline to pay off your mortgage, one extra payment, one extra principal per month, your 30-year mortgage can be paid off in about 10 years. Think about that for a moment. All right, okay. All right, let's go on. This is yeah. So income, look, on a historical basis, I look, in real estate investing, the rental property is an ideal investment. IDEAL. What does that mean? I stands for income, D stand for depreciation, E stand for equity growth, A stand for appreciation, and L stand for leverage. A rental property is a multi-dimensional asset class. All right? I'm going to give you a lot of terminology that you need to incorporate into your brain. Okay, I'm teaching you over again. I don't know your background about real estate or about money management, but yeah, if nothing else, if the takeaway for you, I hope, is that you're learning some new vocabulary, because if you learn this new vocabulary from this class and you take action upon this new vocabulary, you're gonna do very well in your financial future. All right. So income stands for cash flow, the rental income of your monthly rent minus your monthly debt obligations, which is your mortgage, taxes, insurance, property management fee, and whatever. At the end of the month, you have positive cash flow, $200, $300, $400 of net positive cash flow. That's the income aspect of it, right? And then depreciation. Oh, of course, we don't have time to talk about taxes. Another great benefit of rental property is that your property have depreciation tax write-off, which is a phantom write-off, which is a paper write-off, right? So consult your tax accountant about this. But again, I don't have time to talk about tax strategies on this webinar. So and E stand for equity growth, right? It's all about, your property going to increase in value. That's what you want, right? Over time. So that's how you create wealth, through appreciation. Income is good, right? Triggering the income from each of your rental property is a good thing, but it's not everything, right? It'll give you the foundation, of your property, but not going to give you the wealth that you need. In order to achieve long-term wealth through real estate investing, you need to hold your property long-term, allow your property to appreciate systematically over time, and then hopefully your property will, in the next 10, 20, 30 years, to double, triple in value, and then you can retire upon them, right? Does that make sense? So A for appreciation, same thing. Actually, the E and A, the acronym is kind of the same thing. Equity growth, appreciation, and same thing. And finally, L, leverage, critical. I'm going to assume that all of you have good credit. I mean, having good credit, the ability to qualify to get loans, the ability to qualify to get investment loans clearly is is critical. You're gonna leverage. There's no other asset in this investment world, okay, that allow you, like in real estate, where you can leverage your investment. You don't, in the stock market or when you buy mutual funds, right? You buy for dollar, right? You cannot leverage, but in property, to buy rental property, you can leverage. That means all you need is to put 20 to 25% down payment on a loan, and then the lender, right? And then the lender will give you a loan. So that's how you call leverage. By leveraging your rental properties, your return on your investment is higher, right? 10, 20%, or even higher uh, return on investment on those kind of things. All right, does it make sense? All right, so economic conditions prior to the pandemic, prior to the year 2020, I mean, the economy is really doing well. Real estate is really doing well, right? We're humming along, and then so real estate has been very, very healthy. Okay, for in fact for the past 10 years, ever since the last real estate and crash back in 2008, 2009. Since then, for the past 10 years, real estate have been doing well. We have received systematic increases in housing prices for the past 10 years. So everything doing fine. Then last year, 2020, the pandemic hit and everything has changed. As a matter of fact, I recall like March in 2020 when March of 2020 when the COVID-19 happened. I was kind of panicking. I thought real estate house is gonna crash, but little do I know, little do you guys know, little do anybody know. During the pandemic last year, the real estate has been amazing. Has been it just surprised and shocked everyone. So we'll go over that more. Anyway, so all right, so what's going on, as you know, right? I mean, you see it, you know what's going on, even on your local market. What I'm about to tell you, for the most part, is not, is not a surprise, but is a great opportunity. So if you take all this happening out there, what you've been hearing, what you've been experiencing, if you take action sooner than later, then you're gonna benefit. All right. So economy is humming along. Real estate is going to already have a record year. Demand, pent up demand for buyers. New constructions is ramping up. So let's look at your situation. Okay. I mean, I have consulted with many of you. So you guys are what I consider a mom and pop investor. Okay. Let's face it, right? You work a regular job. Most of you work a W-2 job, I presume. You make anywhere from 100,000, 150,000, whether by yourself or with your spouse, both working, either or. Some of you have $50,000, $100,000 regular savings. Some of you have some IRAs, individual retirement account in your portfolio from your previous employer, maybe 100 grand, 150,000, maybe more. Most of you, I assume, own a principal home down where you live. Even if you do not own a principal home, what I found over the years that people still can buy rental properties. Many of the investors that I work with over the years, I would say 30% of the people that I work with that are buying out-of-state rental properties, they do not even own a home in wherever they live, mainly in Northern California, San Jose, San Francisco area. But it's so too expensive, they rather rent. But they still have money, so they use whatever money they have to buy out-of-state rental properties. So whether you own a home right now in Pasadena or wherever you live or not, if you have some financial resources, hey, that if you are motivated to achieve passive income and you want to diversify your money into real estate, uh, you can do that with buying rental properties. Does that make sense? As I stated earlier, uh, you need to buy more than one rental property in order to achieve significant wealth over time. Hopefully, that's my motivation for you. All right. And let's see what else. 65% of the people in the U.S. population owns a home. The remaining 35% do not own a home, so they are renters. So it is what it is. So we can talk about there are different. All right, here's what I'm trying to say. Now, since most of you are beginners, some of you are experienced investors, maybe you own one rental property in California, maybe more than one, but buying out of state is a little bit different, right? So I feel over the years that the easiest way to buy rental property, especially out of state, the best, what I call asset class, is single family home. Maybe up to a fourplex. Single family home, duplex, triplex, and fourplex. 1 to 4 unit. Why? Because on a historical basis, this kind of investment is the easiest to enter, right? It does not require that much sophistication and knowledge, not that much at all. So furthermore, to get the best loan, possible to purchase single family home residential investing, duplex, triplex, and fourplex, 1 to 4 units, you qualify for Fannie Mae lending guidelines. Fannie Mae loans are the best loans out there, right? As an investor, by the way, as an owner occupied, I know that right now we are seeing record interest rate, but although the interest rate has increased a little bit recently, still at a historical rate. So if you own a primary home, the interest rate is probably around 3%, maybe slightly less, right? But if you can get a mortgage to buy a rental property, the Fannie Mae lending guideline is the rate is higher because it's more risk, right? The Fannie Mae lending, when you buy investment property with a loan, is more risky. It's riskier, so they have to charge a higher interest rate. So right now, the interest rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage to get an investment loan to buy a rental property, I would say is in the mid 3.5, 3.6, 3.7. Still very, very good, right? So just keep that in mind. The interest rate on an investment loan is different than an interest rate on a mortgage to obtain a primary home, owner-occupied home. All right, does it make sense? So 1 to 4 unit is the best, but the other type of risk, I know there's so many different ways to enter real estate, right? I mean, again, I feel more comfortable with 1 to 4 unit only. I mean, anything beyond, or you could make the argument if you're going to do anything other than 1 to 4 units, that's require a higher risk, higher level of sophistication, a higher level of experience, higher level of money available, down payment available, whatever, right? And higher, it's just, so I'm not going to talk about too much about, what you see down here on this slide. It's about multi-units, apartment buildings, anything higher than 4 units, student, university housing, commercial investing, medical building, retail apartments, flipping, short-term rentals, syndications. And these are really requires much more knowledge and risk and what have you to enter those. So I'm not going to talk about the areas too much, although I may talk about a little bit about vacation rentals because the areas I'm gonna recommend for you to buy have some vacation rental situations on it. All right, I'll tell you more about it. Right. Okay, let's go on. Post-pandemic risk investing. So working from home, as we all know, is the wave of the future. Remote investing. Workers no longer need to live close to where they work. What we're seeing is epic migration patterns from the into the suburbs from urban areas since the pandemic. Migration from large metros such as San Francisco Bay Area, Southern California, Chicago, New York, the Northeast. Everybody, a lot of people moving into the other areas, into affordable markets, right? And they're moving to many different areas, like Idaho, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, Washington, and the Southeast, Florida, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Oakland, Oklahoma, not Oakland, Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee. So these are migration patterns, right? And people want to move to warmer climates, much more affordable homes, and good, just good lifestyle, and not congested, and business friendly states, lower taxes, less less pollution, all those kind of things, right? So, I mean, I know you guys from Southern California, you've been hearing a lot of people moving into the Inland Empire, Riverside, San Bernardino County, or even, way inland, away from the main LA urban areas, right? In Orange County, so expensive, right? Orange County in LA, or what have you. San Diego, same thing, very, very expensive. People moving into the suburbs. So that's therefore you see a lot of rising prices in the suburbs. But a lot of people moving out of state, right? They moving to Las Vegas, for example. Las Vegas is only about an hour and a half, I think, right, from Southern California, right? So a lot of people buying vacation homes out there as well, and or moving out there to live there permanently. And in other areas, Arizona, people moving those areas in Arizona, Utah, Colorado, right? All those, there's a lot of migration towards that area. But as a real estate investor, okay, I'm gonna give you this heads up. Those areas are still relatively expensive for buying rental properties. And I will share with you the numerical formulas, what I call it, is a benchmark as to what type of price, home prices you should buy as an investor, and it'll surprise you. But you must follow this formula to become a successful investor. Okay, I'll show you the formula momentarily as we go through the presentation. All right. So suffice to say, is you might be surprised to hear from me, or you might be to hear from me that I do not necessarily recommend buying rental properties in the areas I just mentioned. Not in Idaho, not in Utah, not in Arizona, not in Las Vegas, not in Washington State or Idaho, wherever, because the prices are too high relative to the rent you're going to receive. The numbers just does not make sense. All right. Okay, I will give you more details later on this presentation. So I hate to burst your bubble, if you will. I know a lot of these areas are, are very close to where you live, but again, it's not a matter of buying a rental property that are close to you. It's a matter of buying rental properties that, numerically speaking, it makes sense as long as you have a team at those locations. They will do all the dirty work for you. The property managers, the realtors, the home inspector, the contractor, and whatever, right? As long as you have that team to help you, you can do it. You can buy investment property 3,000 miles away, 5,000 miles away, or 1 million miles away, to the moon or to the Mars or whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Okay. Hope. See what I asked you at the beginning of this webinar? You have to have an open mind. You have to think outside the box, right? The old traditional thinking about a lot of things these days does not work, especially after the pandemic. So, until you're willing to adapt and willing to do things differently than what you have been taught over all the years of your life, unless you're willing to do that, then real estate investing, especially buying out of state, may not work for you, right? Right. So that's how it is, right? So you have to find a system of real estate investing that you feel comfortable, that works for you, and it's not going to be easy. That's why a lot of people can't do it. A lot of people, whether they have money or not, they simply cannot buy rental properties because all the past negative programming or negative experience or this conditioning that people have been carrying with them ever since they were young. That is the major obstacle to achieving real estate wealth, especially buying out of state. Does it make sense? All right, so let's continue. So let's see what's happening. The real estate facts, as you can see on the right-hand corner, the fact is uh, a lot of things are changing for the better. It's going to benefit real estate investor. As you can see, uh, in the right-hand corner, a lot of people are being a lot of people are renting, a lot of people are unemployed as a result of the pandemic, but I feel that the economy is going to come back, the jobs will be available, especially in the retail and hospitality industry will slowly come back when the vaccines are doing well and everything else. So yeah, things are looking good. The population growth, the demographics, so all the trends, all the real estate facts indicate that moving forward, real estate investing, the real estate industry is very healthy, and right now is a great time to create wealth through real estate. Okay. All right. So if you look at the chart here, okay, on the upper left-hand corner, we're just gonna briefly mention that the difference between the 2008 real estate crash and this past year is difference between night and day, as you can see, right, on the slideshow. So I'm not gonna go over that. These times are very, very different, right? At this time, people have a lot of equity in their home. Only people who have a good credit and can qualify to get a mortgage can buy real estate these days. And the migration trends by U-Haul, which is fairly important research here. The out migration is the orange color. The in migration or the green color, that means the red color circles are more people leaving than coming in, right? And the green color circle indicates that people are moving in those locations than people are leaving, right? So suffice to say, I will briefly just conclude this slideshow saying that the region of the US where you will see current and future positive trends are in the South and Southeast, right? As you can see, Texas is a recipient of this mass migration, post-pandemic migration. And you can see also Florida, they have multiple circles, green circles. Again, clearly indicates the massive migration of people moving into those two areas. And of course, the surrounding states right above Florida are South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, a few other places. They are also getting migration, but not as much as the migration that the state of Texas and Florida is getting. So that's when you buy, especially when you buy a rental property, you buy a rental property where where there are jobs, right? When there are jobs, when there are a lot of people moving in those areas, really, that's, when you think about it, really, that's it, right? That's the main thing, right? It is that simple. You look at the, population growth, job growth, the migration trends, and focus on much. People like warm weather. Okay, I love warm weather. I don't see myself living in a cold weather ever again, although I did it before when I was in a active duty U.S. Army 20 years. I have to move to different locations overseas and throughout the U.S. And I live in cold weather areas. I grew up, in Philadelphia actually, cold weather. So, but I much prefer warm weather, tropical weather, all year long. And clearly, my personal opinion is that Florida and Texas is no doubt number one in my book, and hopefully number one in your book as well, for for buying real estate or even retiring in those places, for many, many good reasons, which I don't have time to talk about. All right, make sense? All right, so I get that out of the way. Again, more data that indicates that the growth, the migration trends, the darker the area, that's where people are moving. Once again, Florida and Texas and Florida is 1-2-2-1. It doesn't matter, it's just okay. Let me see what else. A lot of renters, of course. Uh, just goes to show you, in the areas that I'm going to talk about, once you buy those rental property, once you close escrow, what we are seeing is that there are multiple renters that want to rent your house. You're gonna expect to see 20 or 30 rental applications that fighting to rent your house. So the property managers you're gonna work with gonna pre-screen the best tenant for you, and you're gonna be a happy camper, happy camper, because you can have a very good rental, uh, because of what's going on today, right? Shortage of homes to buy, shortage of homes to rent, which is amazing. All right, so virus is in charge right now, but with the vaccine acceleration, we're seeing a lot of positive uh, positive things happening in today's economy. So that's good. And so this slide basically shows that a lot of people will be renting. And I'm going to briefly talk about another research you should do before you buy in a particular area, before you buy a rental property, is to look for I know you want to look for a diversified economy, but if that particular market that you want to buy not only have a regular good diversified economy, but there's a lot of high tech. If it is a tech hub, if you will, that is an additional bonus. So with that in mind, before we go there, let me briefly share with you that some people are saying there's a foreclosure wave. I don't see it, right? Because most of the people that are not paying their rent, or they are under moratorium, right? I mean, they don't have to pay. They are taking a pay vacation, if you will. So even the 1 or 2 million people who are not paying their mortgages in the country, throughout the country, once the moratorium expires, then the lender will allow for loan modifications, right? So you're not going to see too many foreclosures down the pipe. I just want to clear it out of the way, because most of the people who are not, even if they still under financial stress, even after the pandemic, those 1 or 2 million people who have not been making their payment, they could easily sell their house. They don't have to. In fact, not only they can sell the house, they can sell it at a gain, because most people in this country, they have equity of their home. If you have equity in your home, you don't have to go through go to the foreclosure timeline, right? So some people claim there will be a massive wave of foreclosure. I don't think so, because people have equity, they can sell the property, and uh, it will be a regular sale in the open market. It's not going to be REO. It's not going to be a foreclosure. So they could even make more money by selling, actually, because a lot of people have equity, because real estate have grown so much in the past 10 years. Okay. All right. So let's skip some of this. Yeah, I already discussed this. The lenders, they're not going to be in the foreclosure game anymore like they did 10 years ago. They want they want to rescue their homeowners. They want to do loan modification. So that's fine. So top technology regions in the area. Okay, I'm gonna play this nice little game with you. Okay, this is like as a real estate investor, if you can buy rental properties in some of these areas where has some high tech concentration, is more the better. Although that's not the primary criteria you should look into, right? Okay, so let me play this game. Okay, I'll give you the answer. All right, don't worry. Okay, I want you to guess which city this high tech terminology are located. Okay, I'll give you the answer right away. By the way, I'm not gonna waste time to play games, although I could. All right, Silicon Valley. Well, we all know Silicon Valley started from San Jose. I live in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area for more than 30 years. So I've been there, done that. So I know what's going on. So Silicon Valley, it really started in San Jose, now spreading into San Francisco and the East Bay. So 50-mile radius. So everybody know that. That's the original Silicon Valley. Then number two is Silicon Hills. Do you know where Silicon Hills? That's Austin, Texas. Austin, tremendous growth in Austin, Texas. I'll talk about it later. Number three, Florida High Tech Corridor, which is the Space Coast, space technology, rocket ship, and NASA, all those kind of things, and rockets. So Florida High Tech Corridor, which is located in the Atlantic coast by Cape Canaveral and Port Canaveral, Palm Bay to be exact, Palm Bay and Melbourne, Florida. So that is a Florida high-tech corridor space coast. Very fast-moving, small little metro, mini hub, mini high-tech hub is the Florida high-tech corridor. Rocket City is Huntsville, Alabama. Okay, a lot of space technology, a lot of government technology there. Number five is Silicon Forest. Silicon Forest is located in where? Seattle, Washington, Silicon Forest. Number six, Silicon Beach. Well, your neck of the woods, Orange County, SoCal, right? LA, Silicon Beach. Silicon Prairie. Silicon Prairie is the Dallas Metroplex, Silicon Prairie. Research Triangle, North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. Research Triangle, okay? Medical technology, medical research, and high tech. Number nine, Dulles Tech Corridor. Well, you heard of Dulles International Airport, right? It's in the suburbs of Virginia. Actually, I used to live there in Northern Virginia, across the river from Washington, D.C. I was stationed U.S. Army active duty there back in 1988, 1989. So Dulles Tech Corridor covers Northern Virginia, Arlington, and Vienna and Falls Church, and then across the river is Washington, D.C. and the government sector. So Dulles Tech sector also growing very fast. And last but not least, number 10, Brain Power Triangle. That's Boston, MIT, Harvard. Okay, Okay, so what's going on in current market? We all been hearing Since the pandemic began, sellers are not selling because last year, at least 2020, sellers are sellers because they don't want people to walk in their house because of the health issue, right? So people will not people that wanted to sell last year do not want to sell because of COVID-19. So, but now with the increase in the interest rate since last year, these two variable, lack of homes to sell, historical low interest rate is creating tremendous pent up demand. All right. And new construction, new builders are not building fast enough due to the lumber shortage, lack of construction workers, etc. So extreme uh, challenges we're seeing right now, historical, never seen it before in all my career. So today's world is changing drastically. Uh, Age of technology, right? Internet. So you will need to adapt accordingly. The real estate sector that, in my opinion, and upon the data that I've been researching, is such that the best. Okay, I'm gonna say the word real estate asset class. There are many different type of real estate, right? Asset class for investors. I already shared with you the best, the best one is the single family home rentals and duplex, triplex, fourplex, 1 to 4 unit. And the other type of real estate asset class are not doing as well as in light of the pandemic. And they are, commercial buildings, office buildings, and multi-units, apartment buildings. Those kind of things are not doing well, at least for the short term. I don't know long term down the road, but right, we all been hearing that, right? Density, high density, close in living quarters, just are inviting health issues, right? So as a result, the asset class that I just mentioned, multi-unit apartments, office buildings, retail, they are not doing well. So they are okay. So the future of real estate is live where you want to live, invest where the numbers make sense. All right. So a lot of companies are allowing their workers to work remotely. I know that's so if people can work remotely, they can work wherever they want, right? And um, so that's the changing the landscape. So people are moving into the suburbs, into other areas, and people want larger space in the suburbs, bigger home. They want to have one extra bedroom for as an office, right? So they want affordable markets, cheaper places to live. Okay, not in California. All right, so the three acronym. So if you want to become successful to invest out of state, you need to put together a philosophy and a system and a team that will do the following for you. And I created personally these three different terminologies, and I created myself. I used this word like more than 10 years ago. Okay, three things you need to know: OPM, OPK, and OPL. So if you know, today and beyond, if you really embrace these new philosophical concepts into your real estate investment model, into your real estate investment philosophy, if you really want to live this way as an investor, you are going to be successful. And here it is: OPM is other people's money, right? Other people, you can leverage your money. You can get a loan. You will pay 20 to 25%. That's it. The loan, the lender, the bank will pay the other 75 or 80% of your asset, right? That's leverage. Leverage is power. Leverage will allow you to achieve financial freedom in otherwise you may not be able to do so with real estate. Okay, OPM, other people's money. And then OPK, other people's knowledge. Look, I know you're learning from me for the next couple of hours and all that, but a lot of things you shouldn't waste your time. I mean, get some basic understanding of it. As a real estate investor, whether you buy one rental or 10 rental or 20 rental properties everywhere, you need to find a trusted team that will help you with your investments over time. And the other people's knowledge is your CPA, your financial coach, your attorney, your realtor, your property manager, those people, right? If you get a good team, that's you cannot do it yourself, right? You're not a lone ranger. Even lone ranger have a partner, Tonto. All right, so you learn the basics, but let other people, you know, help you. Professionals, trusted professionals, right? And lastly, OPL, other people's labor. No more TNT. TNT, dynamite. No, TNT stands for tenants and toilets. You're not going to get your hands dirty. You're not going to fix a property. You're not going to use a hammer and nail the hammer into something in the house. You're not going to do all the dirty work. You are a passive investor. Although they are your property under your name, you're not going to get down and dirty. You're going to hire those people. You're going to hire those contractors and and rehab team if necessary. And the property manager definitely is the most important, right? The property manager or the eyes and ears, they will do you potentially, whether you buy one out of state rental or more or multiple properties out of state, most of the time you will never see the tenant. You don't care who they are, right? You don't even have to see your property. In fact, 95% of the investor I work with all these years, they have never physically seen their properties. You heard me? I know it sounds scary, but it's not really. If you find the right team, if you find the right system, it works. And I've seen that with my own eyes, on my own personal portfolio and on a portfolio of many hundreds of real investors I have consulted over the years. And it works. I mean, there are some risks. I mean, of course, it's just like anything else. You know, bad things could happen. You could have a vacancy for several months. The tenant, you know, could trash a house, whatever, or you have a lot of maintenance issues. Those risks are minimal these days, right? Not as rampant as prior years, like 10, 15 years ago. These days, things are a lot better because you can buy a better house, you can have better tenants, you can have, you know, you can buy in a good rental market, and the property managers are better these days. Is that cool? Property managers are, they have evolved whereby they know how to manage your property. They have a portal. Once you use them, they will pre-screen the tenant. They will do all the credit check. They will do all the income check to make sure is a good, very good tenant. They have a very good job. They have a stable job. They will do all the pre-screening on your behalf, right? And then once you accept that tenant, and the tenant start paying, the property manager, they have a technology. They have a portal whereby you have a login portal where every day, every month, you can log in to the property manager portal with respect to your property. You will see everything what's going on. You will see that your tenant has been paying the checks that you've been receiving from the tenant. You're going to see any kind of maintenance issues popping up. All that information is on your login portal with the property manager on each of your rental property. Isn't that cool? So yeah, you can manage your property from thousands and thousands of miles away, knowing that the property manager is your eyes and ears. You get real-time information from the portal you can log into about anything, about tenant, about maintenance costs, about minor repairs, about changing the tenant, about communicating with the property manager and all that stuff. See, at the comfort of your home, at the comfort in your laptop, in your computer, you have a login portal with the property manager, and you that's how you manage your property, right? In a couple of hours a month, whether you have one rental or 20 rental properties out of state, your login portal with different property managers, depending on what you buy. That's how you manage your portfolio. So you can be on vacation in the middle of the ocean on a cruise, bring your laptop with you. Yeah, you work just a little bit during your vacation, on a once a week or whatever, you log into your portal with the property manager portal, you'll see exactly what's going on with your property. And most of the time, on a month-to-month basis, most of the time your property, there's nothing to look at. There's nothing urgent issues that's happening because your tenant is paying on time because they have the tenants these days are very high quality, right? Hopefully, mostly. See how easy to, so-called manage your portfolio is passive, is less than part-time, right? So very little work for you to do because OPM and OPK and OPL will leverage everything for you so you could focus on the things that are important to you. Focus on your lifestyle, focus on traveling, focus on taking care of your elderly parents or your young kids or whatever, and focus on hobbies that are important to you. You're not going to be a full-time, you would not going to be a full-time investor. Whether you own 5 rentals out of state or 10 or 15, 20, you're always going to be even less than part-time, right? I'm telling you this stuff because it's real. It's not theory. I'm doing this on my own, and many investors before you have done it. And many of my investors, they live in California, just like you. They live in Bay Area, right? I would say 80% of my investors, they live in Bay Area. They are doing all of these things. Yeah, there are some risk involved. Of course, there are risks, but the benefits, the reward are much greater than all the other risks that you could see as a risk investor. Okay. All right. Okay. How do you design your so-called portfolio? Again, it comes down to your ability to get a loan, right? If you have good credit, whatever. All right, so you can even buy with 15% down on a single family home rental, actually, if you want, but you have to pay a little bit of PMI, private mortgage insurance, but not that much. 15, 20, 25%, that's a typical, you buy with leverage, okay? So if you have $15,000 to $20,000 of cash and you qualify to get a loan to buy a rental property, you can get one rental. Those are lower cost homes. I'll show you where momentarily. Most of the time, if you want to find a good new rental property, new construction house, you would need to buy somewhere like 180 to 200K. So 20% down payment, you need about $50,000. For every $50,000 of cash you have to finance a $200,000 purchase price, that is how you do it. If you have 50 grand, we'll buy you one house with 20% down financing. So just calculate what is in your portfolio. If you have $200,000 of cash sitting around in your savings account, if you want to buy investment properties out of state, right? If you buy a new construction that costs on 200 grand, well, just think about it. 50 grand of cash equals one rental property. So if you have 200 grand, you can buy 4. Some of my investors have $400,000 of cash. So, or $500,000 of cash, pure cash to get loan, to get 20% down. So $500,000 cash divided by $50,000 down payment cash to finance each purchase of an investment property at $200,000, that means you can buy 10, right? So anyway, I'm just giving you some ideas. Or something we're not going to talk about too much, you can buy with your self-directed IRA. You can buy a rental property in the name of your individual retirement account. A lot of you have IRAs, right? Retirement accounts. You can own a physical asset, a rental property in the name of the IRA. All right, keep that in mind. I don't have the time to talk about that. We can talk offline if you want. Okay, so that's different way to buy. Okay, and the third way, most important, down here, you should buy a turnkey property. You could buy a turnkey property that is already done for you. The house is ready for you. Okay, turnkey, every done. It's all fixed up. Oh, it's rent ready. The tenant is about to move in. Everything has been fixed up in the house. Everything is ready. Okay. Okay, there's no US housing market, but each local market is different. Okay. Each local market is different. Each city, each neighborhood is distinctly different, right? So as a result, you need to diversify. You need to buy one or two property, one area, another property, one area. You're going to diversify your real estate purchases, no different than you diversify your stock market, your mutual fund investments, right? You'll do asset allocation because every local market is different. They react differently to economic conditions or whatever, all right? So let's talk about loans a little bit. Okay, Fannie Mae lending, which is the best kind of loan, the primary loans, allow 10 maximum mortgages per person if you qualify, right? So, so they give the best interest rate. Fannie Mae lending, maximum is 10 mortgages. If you go beyond 10, okay, let's go over this. All right, number one, low inventory plus low interest rate plus rising demands equals today's red hot real estate market. We have historical low interest rate. And right now is mid threes, which is amazing, like free money. The loans you're getting right now is quote, end quote, free money. Okay, read my lips, quote, end quote, free money. We're talking 3% or low three or mid threes these days to finance your investment property or any kind of property for that matter, right? So take advantage of this tremendous historical low interest rate because your payments can be lower. You can buy more house for your money and all that. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you max out at 10 Fannie Mae loans, then you have to go commercial, which is 5 units or more, or portfolio loans, which is hard money loan. This may result in stricter qualification, higher down payments, higher interest rate, et cetera, et cetera. So you're not there yet. So focus on your first 10 mortgages, right? And when you reach that 10 mortgage level, you will find a way to buy more through leveraging if that's what you want, if you have the money to do so, right? Just so you know the big picture, what could happen, right? Long-term wise. All right, to recap, what time is it now? It's now 10:13. Too many investors are stuck with 10 mortgages, but it's very hard to get into commercials. I'm not going to talk about that. That's require a lot of sophistication, buying commercial property, multi-units, above and beyond the 4 units, above and beyond the Fannie Mae lending guidelines. But there are ways. Let me see what else. How to design your real estate portfolio. You buy for geographical diversification. Do not put all your eggs in one basket, just like the stock market, right? Because you have to spread your risk in different locations, different properties, different cities. All right. So and another philosophy you should have is buy and hold. When you buy and hold over time, 5, 10, 15 years, you can overcome any potential crash, any potential correction, any potential a bubble, as they call it, right? Don't let this negative terminology brainwash you. So, but look, no, it's long term. I look at myself. I mean, I bought my first house in Bay Area in 1991 for 186,000. Now, the same property 30 years later is is yeah, it is valued at around 900,000. I bought my second home in the Bay Area in Fremont back in 2000, barely 20 years ago. I bought it at 530K, right? Today, that home is 1.4, I think. See, if you hold your property long term, it'll overcome any cycles up and down, sideways, backways, whatever, right? So as long as your property is getting the cash flow, as long as you're getting the rental income on a consistent basis, as long as your maintenance and upkeep and vacancies is a bare minimum, that's all you care about. Just get the cash flow as a foundation of your success, then allow your house systematically grow over time. Okay, is that simple. Show the discipline, show the commitment to show positive attitude, those kind of things, right? Positive attitude, right? Don't get stressed out. Don't be overly emotional. You need to think like a business owner. You are a business owner. You are a real estate entrepreneur. Don't get stressed out. Don't overreact. Don't get too emotional. You buy an asset. You buy an investment. I know real estate is physical. Yeah, you want to touch it. You want to feel it, right? But when you buy a rental property, you're not living there, right? You don't need a perfect house. You're not living there. Do not get emotionally attached to your property. At some point in time, later, maybe you could, right? When you retire in a house in that location, then you can convert that house into your vacation home, a primary home, whatever. But for the time being, you can get your rental property leased out on an annual lease. That's the typical traditional lease. Just ride out the storm. Let your team, let your property manager do their work. If your property manager does not do their job correctly, whatever, then you can always hire another property manager, right? So you need to adapt, have a positive attitude. Don't get paralyzed. Don't get stressed out. Don't feel too emotional. You buying a multi-dimensional asset class, single family home to fourplex. That is the sweet spot for you. Does that make sense? All right, so now let's talk about numbers. I'm gonna validate and justify what I said earlier. I said earlier, don't buy an investment property in Utah, Idaho, Colorado, or Nevada, or Washington State, or Oregon, whatever, thinking, oh, is he crazy? These areas are one of the fastest growing area in the country. Yes, I get that. I get these areas are growing very fast. But as a real estate investor, you have to know the numbers. And with that in mind, I'm going to show you the critical numbers that you must know, must educate yourself before you go out there and buy rental property. Okay. The 1% rule, rent to value ratio. Another formula you must know is capitalization rate. Third one is cash on cash return, and the fourth one is total return on investment. I already gave you the definition of all those four formulas. Now, that's why by getting the recording video, you can replay this video again and again until you really get it. You may not get it today, what I'm about to tell you. You need time to digest what I just taught you. I'm giving you so much information. I don't want to bombard you with all this Information is too overwhelming for many of you, especially when you're a beginner, right? When you are a newbie, if you will. Even if you're not a newbie, you're watching my presentation, you might be overwhelmed with the things that I said throughout this presentation, but it's okay, right? I'm sharing, I'm giving you some good educational content. I am, you can get a recording of this video, you can replay it until you really, really get it. And the light bulb, your light bulb may hit, right? You know, when your light bulb, my light bulb is right there. It just comes on, you hit the light, thing will transform, things will brighten up. Your real estate investing future will brighten up all of a sudden. Then you can be motivated, you can be transformed, you can be excited about venturing into this really exciting real estate investing journey, right? It's a journey. It's investing is not an end game. Yeah, it's an end game, ultimately, but go for the ride, go for the journey. The journey is fun, right? Have a positive attitude. That's the key, right? Get yourself a team. You cannot do yourself. Hire a financial coach. Hire all the financial team. Have everybody work for you. Have a common goal. Have the same philosophy. It's all about communication. It's about relationships. You need to have a good relationship with people you work with because they are the people that are gonna make or break you, right? Communication, relationship, positive attitude, all these are critical skill set you need to have as a real estate investor. I know, a lot of people say, oh, you gotta have the money, you gotta have the good credit. Yes, that's a given. You gotta have money to buy the houses and whatever, right? But at the end of the day, the skill set you need as a real estate investor are not really financial in nature. It's really it's the traits, the skill set, the traits that you have, the philosophy, the mental traits that you have is most critical, really, right? So, okay, I'm being so philosophical. Uh, Forgive me, but okay. The benchmark, okay, rent to value ratio is 0.07 to 1%. Okay, I'll give you some example, okay? 1% rent to value ratio. If you buy a rental property for 100 grand, multiply by 1%, that means $1,000. $1,000 is your monthly gross rent, something like that, right? Okay, let me give you some additional critical benchmark, okay? The cap raise, okay, cap raise is kind of number two. It's kind of hard to explain, but you know, I explain later. Okay, maybe I'll give you some other videos. You can have more detailed explanation about capitalization rates. But 6% on above is good. Okay, and then all right. Okay. Anyway, so there are two areas you should buy. The Midwest is one area. The Midwest, the typical rental property is like 50,000, very, very cheap. Oh my goodness. So the monthly gross rent is 850 to 1,000. So pretty much meet the 1% rent to value ratio. Does it make sense? If you're gonna buy in the better areas where new houses, new construction, new builds, I call it, you buy in the south and southeast, like Texas and Florida mainly. There are other areas, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. They have good properties, but those other areas are not growing as fast as the areas of Texas and Florida. Mainly Texas, Austin. In my personal opinion, Austin and San Antonio is the best area to buy in Texas, and in Central Florida. I mean, in Florida, Central Florida and Southwest Florida is the best to buy. I'll give you more details shortly. Okay, so if you're gonna buy higher price rental homes, as you can see, line number 5, paragraph number 5, to meet the 0.07 rent to value ratio, here it goes. if you're going to buy a property, a new construction, for example, 150,000, the rent, the gross rent before any deduction should be around 1,250. If you're going to buy a property 175,000, new construction, the rent hopefully is going to be close to 1,450. 1,350 to 1,450 is good. If you're going to buy a new construction single family home for 200,000, the rent could be anywhere from 1,550 to 1,650. If you're going to buy a property for 245,000, the rent should be around 1,900 to 2,000. Let me say one thing. Okay? Let me just hear me out. Critical. The sweet spot, the cutoff point, if you will, with respect to single family homes, especially in new construction, you should not go higher than 300,000. Because, you know why? Because the rent you're going to receive is around 2,200, right? So the number like this is the max. The highest price point is 300 grand. As long as the rent is around 2,200, 2,300, then is a good number, good benchmark, if you will. Does that make sense? So having said that, if you're going to buy a single family home new build in Las Vegas, in Salt Lake City, Utah, in Boise, Idaho, or in Denver, Colorado, or in Phoenix, Arizona, those single family home new builds, if they have any available, they're at least 350, 400K or more. And the rent you're going to get is not going to be more than 2,000. So look at the disparity between the purchase price versus the monthly rent. That's why I cannot, for the sake of me, recommend to buy rental property, single family home in those markets. I know it's very close to you, may, from LA, whatever, but that's not all about, right? So you buy in a market that have these numbers, and the market that have these kind of numbers with the new construction are in Austin and San Antonio and Central Florida and Southwest Florida. That is that simple, all right? Okay, I know you need time to digest. Or some of you are thinking, oh, I want to buy a vacation home also. Yeah, vacation homes is fine. You could buy a vacation home now in those locations at those prices. But the vacation homes, are you thinking like you're not going to have a 1-year lease there? You could have a short-term rentals. You know, it's doable, but you're not going to collect as much rent if you convert your property in those areas as a vacation home, right? Because vacation home is part of the year you're going to leave it vacant. So how are you going to justify the numbers with the negative cash flow scenario, the vacancy and all that? Unless you're very, very rich, you want to pay all cash, then it does not matter, right? Really, if you're going to pay all cash to buy any of the properties, in a way, you can throw my numerical benchmarks out the window. But a lot of you doesn't have that much money. You don't have the ability to buy all cash to buy 3, 4, 5 of these rental property. Do you have 500K, $700,000 of cash to buy 3 or 4 properties? Well, even if you do, I wouldn't buy all cash, right? I mean, nothing wrong with buying all cash. Don't get me wrong, because you have no debt, you have no mortgages, you have some kind of cash flow. But best way to leverage your real estate portfolio, if you can do it, you do financing, right? You just pay, 20 to 25% down. You do leverage. You can buy more properties that way and still cash flow very nicely. Does it make sense? Okay, I hope it does. All right, let's go on. All right, so let me see what time is it. 10:30. So at least 40 minutes, we should be done, okay? Bear with me. You can take a bathroom break if you want. I might need one myself momentarily. You can drink a second cup of coffee. In fact, I might just do it. Let me ask my wife. Honey, I need a second cup of coffee. Honey. She's not hearing me. Sorry. All right, okay. Let's, where to buy, okay? You buy, like I said, Okay, you need to buy where there are, in an area there are jobs, right? There are many potential renters out there. Population growth, good diversified industry, all, and I personally like to buy in a weather is warm all year round. No more snow, no more tornado, no cold weather, nothing like that. I mean, not that I'm going to spend time in those locations, but I could. I don't know in the future. But yeah, I mean, best weather down south, south and southeast, Florida and Texas. Come on, that's obvious, right? Okay, population migration. Yes, people are migrating post-pandemic, massive migration. People from New York and surrounding New Jersey, Connecticut, a lot of people moving down to Florida to retire, to work. Millennials, they are the next, they are triggering the real estate industry. The millennials, they are buying homes, they are the game changer, right? They're more, the percentage of home buyers, there are more millennials than the other percentage wise, the versus the other categories. Okay, the Gen X and the baby boomers are also buying homes. Some are buying vacation homes, some are buying regular homes to live, some are buying rental properties, right? But millennials is really, they are driving the real estate market. So just keep that in mind. And so let's keep going. So where to buy? Believe it or not, I mean, I'm talking about buying good neighborhoods, right, with the new construction in Florida and Texas and a few other southern places. But a lot of, I would say, I don't know, I would say, I don't have the data. I would say 60% of investors, real estate investors, they buying good quality homes, good neighborhoods in South and Southeast. And then around 40% of the real estate investors, they still want to buy in the Midwest. Let me tell you why. You have to decide what you want to do. You have to decide. You're hearing me right now, my students. You have to decide which system you want to purchase. Nothing wrong. I'm not. Although I have my personal opinions, but I could make the argument you could buy somewhere in the Midwest also. And here are the following attributes if you buy in the Midwest. Midwest, Rust Belt, manufacturing, industrial base, blue collar, working class demographics, older houses, older neighborhood. Essentially, they're looking in upper Midwest, like also New York, Cleveland, Ohio, Indianapolis, Indiana, St. Louis, Missouri, Memphis, Tennessee, Detroit, Michigan, Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, and uh, uh, these places are Midwest. They are much older homes. They are much cheaper. So those their homes like 100 years old, 50 years old. But if you're working through a good team, good turnkey provider, I'm going to use the word turnkey provider uh, quite a few times uh, 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 in the remainder of this presentation, and there's a good reason. But there's pros and cons. If you want to buy those cheaper properties in the Midwest, they're in a C neighborhood. The tenant is not as high quality. You're gonna incur more maintenance and upkeeps and vacancies. But those prices are so low. Let me give you one example. I know this cash flow sheet is quite hard to read, but this is a typical. This property is $47,500 in the Midwest, in Niagara Falls, by the way, 47,500. Let's assume this property has been rehabbed completely. It's turnkey. Everything has been upgraded. The roof has been repaired. The electrical system has been upgraded. The heating system, everything is done. Inside the house is all fixed up, right? All fixed up, ready to be rented, right? This is an ideal, good Midwest property for you. So if you want high cash flow, high rent to value ratio relative to the purchase price, you might consider buying one of these, right? Nothing wrong as long as you work with a good turnkey provider that have a system, that have a property management in place, that been in that market for a very, very long time. You can get this kind of property not in the open market, not in the resale market. These are off limit, off market properties. You know what I mean by off market? You don't have to bid with other people out there, because this turnkey provider only specifically sell to investors like you and I, right? Does it make sense? Right, so this property, 47,500 is just one example. It rents for $850. Right away, you can tell the rent to value ratio is even higher than 1%. So you can get financing, believe it or not. You can get financing on this small little house as long as you find the right loan loan agent that can are willing to finance this small purchase. But if you can do it, it's been done. It's out there as we speak. It's doable. So if the rate is 850, and the purchase price only 47,000, all rehab, all ready to go, renter in place, whatever. So you put a 20% down payment on a small little loan, and you could have a net monthly cash flow of about $333. We're talking very high cash flow. So if you want one of these, your down payment is only $12,500. If you want, no, even for example, if you have a very, let's say you don't have that much money to invest. For those of you attending the class, let's even say you have a lot of money to invest, but you're not sure. You don't want to take too much risk. You don't want to put too much down payment on a more expensive rental. Then you might want to start by buying something like this, something very cheap that only requires like 13 grand total out of pocket. You can finance this 47,500 property, knowing the numbers I just show you, good cash flow. Hey, why not? It might work. Okay, if you buy several of these, multiple of this, just calculate the numbers, do the math. If you have about $150,000 of cash, if you qualify for financing, who's going to stop you from buying 10 of these? If you buy 10 of this property, giving the cash flow in the Midwest, giving all you need is about 13 grand out of pocket to buy each one of these, you can buy 10 of these in a very short periods of time. And your total out of pocket is like 120,000, 130,000. If you $330 net monthly cash flow, multiplied by 10 properties, equals 3,300 coffee. 3,300 net monthly cash flow. Think about that, right? 10 properties in your portfolio in the next 12 months. Total out of pocket 150,000, or give or take, right? Each property, when you do financing, I'm giving you some hypothetical situation, okay? It's just a case study, okay? I mean, it could be real. It has been done, right? To my direct knowledge, it has been done in this kind of situation. So total down payment, 13 grand per house, knowing that the best case scenario, monthly net cash flow, $330 minus all the debt obligations, everything, right? Times 10 properties, 3,300. I know 3,300 to some of you is not enough to retirement, but it'll get you closer to retirement, right? If you have other retirement investments, it could happen. So, there are many ways for you to design a so-called real estate portfolio. But if you do not want a Midwest property for whatever reason, it's too old, or I don't like the location, tenant is not ideal, which is fine. You can buy the other kind of property. You can buy in a better neighborhood, that in an emerging market, South and Southeast, new construction, for example, A to B neighborhood, higher price point, right? But the cash flow is not as high, but you can get a lot more appreciation potential, right? So let's go over that. Let me give you a typical new construction. The typical new construction in this particular case is $175,000. Right? You put 20% down payment. The down payment is 40,000, right? And the rent is like 1,500, which is pretty good, right? And as you can see, the net monthly cash flow is pretty good, $433 per month. So it's a good return. On all the numerical metric, it's a very good return. So these are type of new construction you should buy somewhere in Austin, San Antonio, Central Florida, and Southwest Florida. Southwest Florida, like Cape Coral, Lehigh Acres, Port Charlotte, Fort Myers, Naples, and LaBelle. There's like a lot of 6, 7 smaller cities that comprise of Southwest Florida. That's one. And Central Florida also have many cities in Central Florida, like Tampa, Orlando Metro, and all the surrounding smaller cities within that 75-mile radius in Central Florida, Palm Bay and Kissimmee and Point Siena and Sebring and Ocala, Florida, and Palm Bay. I mentioned Tampa. I mean, all those suburban metros in Central Florida have some great opportunities with new construction, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, right, Florida and Texas is clearly the fastest growing area. A lot of jobs, a lot of migration, so forth and so on. See, I just told you. I just Florida, Central Florida, Kissimmee, Point Siena, Palm Bay, Ocala, Sebring, Southwest Florida, Lehigh Acres, Cape Coral, LaBelle, Charlotte, Texas, the Big Four, Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston, the Big Four. But I know more about Austin and San Antonio better. Austin, the Metro, New Brunswick. You see it. You see all the smaller cities. Okay, I don't want to repeat that, but massive growth going on in those areas. The best buying system, as I mentioned earlier, is Turnkey Provider, because they do all the work for you. They find the property, they rehab the property. If it is in Midwest, if that's what you're Midwest, the Turnkey Provider in the Midwest, if you can find them, you can Google them, you can go to YouTube video, right? You can use your internet to search the most reputable turnkey provider. I can't give you any recommendations. For today, I'm just an educator, right? I can only do so much, but I'm giving you some ideas. At your fingertip and at your computer, you have the ability to do your own research, do your own due diligence, and ultimately, if you're persistent enough, you will find the right turnkey provider to put your team together to help you, right? Turnkey provider in the Midwest, they find the property for you in their local market, they rehab it, they use their own money, their own rehab crew, their own contractor, their own whatever, to fix up the house, to make it turnkey for you. They do everything for you. They have their own property manager. They've been there. They've been at their neighborhood, at their market for years and years and years. They come highly recommended, highly reputable, those kind of things. They're going to manage your property over time. They're going to fix your property. They're going to help you change the tenant. Those are the jobs of the Turnkey Provider, TKP. One-stop shop, right? Everything. They have everything. They can recommend you to the insurance agent to get the insurance for property. They can recommend the property manager. They will have their own contract team, rehab team, the loan agent, the realtor. Everything's all is a one-stop shop. They specialize to help with investor only. Their properties are off market. They are not in the multiple listing service. They are not in and the resale market where you're bidding against hundreds and hundreds of other people, right? Those inventories are available for only select investors like you, right? You buy the price at whatever is set, no negotiation. You buy at a fixed price, okay? But not that easy, right? Not that easy to find reputable people out there. So that, there are some scams out there, you never know, but you'll find a way. Okay, reality check. Expect to learn on the job, right? I mean, some of you are thinking, oh, I need to learn a lot. I need to continue to learn through Zoom. I need to go search the YouTube videos. I need to attend more classes, attend more meetups, whatever. Most people, they over-educate themselves. At the end of the day, they never buy anything. So the best way to learn is learn on the job. Take the chance, buy your first property to see whether it works for you or not, whether you're going. So you learn. The best way to learn is learn on the job. All this theoretical learning, while it is good, is a good foundational thing for you, is not the best way to do it. All right. So again, as I said earlier, so you treat your real estate as a business, right? I mean, albeit part-time, that's fine. You can continue to work at your full-time job, your W-2 job, whatever you do, whether you're a doctor, a nurse, or you work for a large corporation, you can continue to work full-time. You can do these kind of things. You can do everything I taught you, right? Easily and efficiently with low risk, because you have embraced the system I just taught you, right? So work as a team, leverage off on other people. So that, it's really not that hard. Real estate is a contact sport, not a contract sport. You see it down here? It's all about building a relationship, right? So you need to get along with people, communicate with people, be sociable on the internet, right? Or by Zoom, by the way you communicate is by text, by email, by FaceTime, by Zoom meetings, and maybe one-on-one meetings in the future as well, right? So there are many ways to communicate. I just share with you multiple ways of communicating. You can do all this. So so we are, what time is it? We are 10:47. Wow, we may have still plenty of time. So as I'm talking, right, you'll mentally write down the questions, right, on your piece of paper, whatever, and then we have plenty of time, 30 to 40 minutes to do question and answer. You can put down your question on a chat box, right, on your, on your thing, in your software, or you could turn on your video, turn on your visual, and we can talk audio on person to person as well on a Q&A session. Okay, so ask me any questions whatsoever. All right, I mean, I don't care what kind of questions. The only dumb questions are questions that are not being asked. All right, so right, so I mean, especially when you are a newbie, I know you have tons of questions, which is fine. I'll be more than happy to answer them, right? But you need to get informed, get educated, but most importantly, find a way to take action sooner than later. You will never learn everything today. You will never learn everything for the next 10 years. But at some point in time, you have to take action, because real estate investing right now is tremendous. It's very challenging as well. Let me go through, share with you the challenges throughout this presentation. Okay, so thank you for, I know it's not over. Thank you for being patient with my presentation. I know it's not difficult. It's not easy to sit in front of your computer for 2 or 3 hours. I know. So take a break for 1 minute, whatever, drink a second cup of coffee, take a bathroom break. Okay, so all right, so let's continue. So real estate investors is very challenging because of what's going on in the current market condition. At record low inventory, you would not believe out there in the market. As you can acknowledge by now, there are multiple offers out there. Sometimes in certain markets, there are like 50 to 100 offers per house. There are bidding wars. The house will sell at 10, 20, 30% above asking, which is mind-boggling, insane. The areas that I'm aware of are doing this everywhere, right? I mean, especially as an investor, what I've seen is like Austin is an amazing growth with this what's happening right now in Austin, Texas. And San Antonio is an up and coming tremendous market. You can get in at the beginning, get in early, you can reap all the financial benefits if you can get in before everybody else finds out about it. That's in San Antonio, Texas. But that Central Texas area is massive, massive high-tech boom, high-tech hub, and massive migration, total lack of inventory, tremendous demand, and driving prices up is really, really crazy. But the great thing is, as an investor, you do not have to play this kind of game. You work with a turnkey provider. You work with someone that have access to inventory off market, not playing the multiple offer game that I said this few times already. So yes, don't be a part of that, especially when you coming from California, right? Most of you, you can't, you don't have the time, especially you're working full time. You don't have the time to compete with other people in those markets because you're gonna get creamed, right? You have this in the open market, all those resale homes out there in Austin, San Antonio, in Central Florida, and Southwest Florida. I mean, houses, what they come on available, then 24 to 48 hours, they are gone. 10, 50, 20 people bidding for the same house. Many of them buy with cash. Many of them have they are waiving appraisal contingencies. They are waiving this and that, waiving that. I mean, they don't care. This is crazy, crazy market. So just, I mean, 6 months inventory, right, is a normal, market condition, right? 6 months. I mean, we all been hearing about that, right? But in some market, they have only like 2 weeks of inventory, not even 1 month, right? So that's why housing prices are, skyrocketing because of high demand and low supply. And this is going to happen for the next few years, believe it or not, because sellers, even after the pandemic, from what I'm hearing, I could be wrong, sellers who's supposed to be selling in advance of the spring market season right now, they're not selling because what if they're going to sell their house? Where are they going to buy? There's nothing to buy. So those sellers are staying put because if they sell their house with a nice profit, don't get me wrong, where are they going to buy another house in their local market? So they're going to go back in the same seller's market competing against 100 different people, buyers for the one house, right? So, and new builders are not building fast enough because of the, what you call it, of the prices, the lumber prices have skyrocketed. The lumber prices to build a new home have skyrocketed. So new builders all have to increase their prices like on a monthly basis. Plus, it's getting so hard to get new permits to build a house, take 3-4 months to get the permit to build a house. Then because of the lumber shortage and construction worker shortage, it usually takes 4 to 6 months to build a house. Now it takes like 7 months to 10 months or even up to a year to build a house. That's crazy. So everything is being delayed. And many, by the way, many builders are not selling to investors because there's so much demand. Some builders in certain markets, in certain hot markets, they are putting buyers in a lottery system. They pick you out of a hat. They have 10 lots available to buy. 500 people couldn't compete for the 10 lots on the current release. And then sometimes they have a wait list. You have to be on a wait list, and there's no guarantee you can get one of the lots on a wait list. It's just crazy. All right. But once again, if you find a precious turnkey provider, they have access to the new builds. They have exclusive access where you as an investor can get in without bidding, without being in a lottery, to reserve one of the lot. You pay the lot, you pay the price, the contract price, for example, 200 grand. You pay your earnest deposit to lock in the property, $5,000 or whatever earnest deposit. Then you wait for the house to be built in the next 6 to 9 months, whatever. If the builder increased their prices systematically during the construction phase, guess what? You as a buyer will get will be the recipient of the increase in equity because you were already locked in on the original price. Make sense? That is how the game is played. All right. So good renters, if you buy in a good area, the renter will stay for a few more years. You must remember a lot of these highly qualified buyers of homes, they are migrating from many areas in the US, California, New York, and other Midwest areas, and they're going to Texas and Florida because of jobs, because they make good money, they have good income. Guess what? When they arrive in these markets, there's no homes to buy. So they have to rent for at least a year or 2 years until the house becomes available because there's almost no inventory out there. So those renters are potentially your tenants, right? Think about that. Think about the quality of tenant you can get. We're talking those people that have money. Those people are making a salary of $100,000 a year. They're moving to this Austin and San Antonio and Central Florida and Southwest Florida. They cannot find a home to buy because there's nothing is available, no inventory. So they become a renter for meanwhile. That's what's happening. I mean, 6 months is a average inventory. In some of those markets I just mentioned, like they have less than 1 month of inventory. That's crazy. 2 weeks inventory, 1 week inventory, with thousands of qualified buyers migrating these areas. There's only several hundred homes to sell. Let me give one example. In Austin right now, recently, do you know how many realtors in Austin? 15,000 realtors. Recently, a few weeks ago, do you know how many resale homes are available to sell in the open market? I think about 1,000. There are 15,000 realtors in Austin. There's 1,000 homes for sale. That means 90% of the realtors have no houses to sell. They are unemployed. They're not making money. Just one example. Crazy. Okay, so yeah, new builds is the best way. And as a matter of fact, many builders now in those markets in Texas and Florida, because the lumber prices are so expensive, some of them are stop selling and stop building. So if you depend on a new builders to build more homes to accommodate the supply in this country, and some builders are not even building because of the prices to build. So they're going to delay building. Some of them, not all of them. They're not even building because prices to build is so expensive, the lumber costs and lack of construction workers and all that, and all the delays in construction. You depend on them to catch up with the supply. You depend on sellers to release their homes to sell after the pandemic. We're not seeing that. So if home prices, I mean, if inventory is at less than 1 month's supply, how many months or how many years do you think before supply will equal demand? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I could say the rising prices because of continuing multiple offers, continuing demand, supply, really discrepancies between supply and demand. We're going to see continue home price rising for the next few years. For the next few years, I do not see a crash. I do not see a bubble. I do not see a correction anytime soon, right? Because people buying, they have good credit, they are qualified buyers, they are all cash buyers and all that. That's what's happening. Crazy, insane. All right, so let me see what else. New builds, good areas. I already mentioned all this, right? Investors get on the wait list. When the lots are becomes available, they can sign the lot contract. Many builders, many communities are sold out. Many buyers and investors are trying to buy new homes. Okay, let me see what time. 11. Okay, we should be done with my presentation in about 15 minutes. Okay, then we can Q&A up until 30 to 40 minutes. But if there's not enough questions, we could end this Zoom meeting sooner than scheduled time. But let's hopefully not. I'll still be here for the duration until noontime. Right now is 11 a.m. We've got 1 hour left. So let me do 15 minutes more of this PowerPoint presentation, then we do Q&A for the next 40 minutes. Make sense? So jot down your questions. Please ask multiple questions and we'll go from there and open up your video screen. We can talk live. This fourplex, by the way, look at this. This fourplex in San Antonio, 3.5 years ago, it was listed at 460,000. These fourplex, brand new, 2006, 2017, 4 unit. Each unit is 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,300 square foot, right? Very nice area, B class neighborhood in San Antonio. 3.5 years ago, selling for 460K. And you think a multi-unit does not appreciate as much as single family homes? In this case, no, this is not the case. Normally, yes, a multi-family property does not appreciate as fast as a single family home rental on a historical basis, but this is the exception. And this is just a case study, okay? Don't hold me to it. We're not gonna find nothing like this anymore. It just happened. I just want to show you something. Okay, 460K, 3.5 years ago, at the end of 2016, 460K on this fourplex. Very good cash flow, very good area in San Antonio. Okay, 4 units. Today, the same floor plan, new construction, not the same house, new construction, same area, 715K. From 460 to 715 in about 3 years. Yeah, a little bit more than 3 years. This is insane appreciation. Okay, this is not the end, okay? Because the reason why, again, because the high cost construction, because of the lumber prices has increased dramatically, the builder have no choice but to increase their prices dramatically. In fact, this new construction 6 months ago, it was selling for 595K. 6 months ago, this floor plan, The builder decided to increase to 715 today, 6 months later, from 595 to 715 on these highly desirable, high cash flow, great location area of San Antonio, 715K. There's more. Wait, there's more. I sound like a commercial. Wait, there's more. Look at this. I just click on Zillow. There's another similar builder, as you can see, right? The picture. This building looks the same, right? Same floor plan, same builder in San Antonio. But this community is about 5 miles away from the previous community, right? Okay, it's located in Shirts, which is like maybe 5 miles away, maybe 7 miles away. Okay, same floor plan, same everything. Is according to Zillow, it's listed for 815,000. This is crazy. I'm not saying that 715,000 is gonna go up to 815. I'm not saying that. But this community or fourplex, few miles away, it has already, if this house is selling for 815, somebody gonna buy it soon. In the next few weeks, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with this property. It's listed at 815. What if you get a multiple offer situation? Yes, people are still making multiple offers to buy this type of fourplex, but even at 815. What if 10 people can bid on this property and the final sales price is, let's say 850. This 850 will create a new comp in the surrounding area, right? The benchmark for appraisal will begin at the house that was sold at the last moment, at the current moment. Let's say 850. Then all the future appraisal and new comp in this 10-mile radius will, on this kind of floor plan, will be 850. All right, I'm just giving you a hypothetical situation. This is, I don't know the reality of it. In a few weeks we might know, right? I know this is an extreme example, but I could make the argument that this kind of extreme, I can give you another case study. I don't have the time to do so. Not necessarily exact same scenario. I could use a single family home residential property as a scenario, as a case study from 4 years ago versus now. So the question you have to ask yourself as an investor is, I know you missed the boat, if you will. I know you missed the boat on not only on this 3.5-year projection on this particular floor plan, you may have missed the boat on other single family homes in other neighborhoods, may not even be in this same city. Could be some other city, some other areas of Texas or Austin somewhere, or Central Florida or Southwest Florida, whatever. But the point I'm trying to relate to you is, yes, you missed the boat, but you have to get on the boat now. The sooner we buy now, regardless of all the, things that we hear, or regardless of all the chatter that we always hear, good and bad, accurate or inaccurate. As a risk investor, the best time to buy is right now, and then wait for all the scenarios to play out. Yeah, it's that simple, right? If we wait 2 or 3 more years, you're gonna buy at a higher price that you lost all the equity. Each day that we waste by not staying invested in real estate, you cannot make that one day back. It's gone. That one day is gone. Today, 27 March, if we do not have an asset that are under our name for today, that means that day is gone. You cannot make up for each day that you lose. Real estate investing is all about time, long time investing, buy and hold long time. You stay invested by owning the asset. whether that is mutual funds, real estate, or any kind of asset, right? So you buy an asset, in this case, real estate investing, and wait instead of wait to buy. You know, people have all kind of justification and excuses to not buy. Oh, I'm going to wait until after the crash. I want to wait until the market gets corrected. Those people that play this waiting game is all about fear. They justify their fear by not taking action today, by validating their fear, by giving some other excuses. Oh, the market is too hot. The market is at its peak. Oh, there will be a crash. There'll be this and that. All this kind of negative energy that come out of these kind of words, come out of these people, it's a symptom of validating their fear. That's all, right? That's why risk investing is, in a way, is challenging, especially for newbies, because you play into those fears. You believe what you hear out there and just paralyzed. It's just paralyzed. People is analysis. You know what's analysis by paralysis mean? We overanalyze every little thing and we don't take action because of all those scenarios, hypotheticals, and we justify those fears by pretending that, pretending you are an amateur economics or something. Oh, because the real estate analytics does not meet my criteria as a result of those inflation and all the bubble numeric matrix. After researching all this, because I'm so smart as an investor, I decided not to buy until the perfect time to buy 4 years from now. Okay, let's wait 4 years from now. Let's see what's going to happen 4 years from now. Okay. Okay. All right. So let me see. Right now let me fast forward. Right now it's almost 11:15. So I think I made my what you call it, my statement. So all this slideshow, I just go through real fast. Of course, you can get the slideshow with the video recording on and all that. So let's fast forward. And then we'll finish up. Then we do a Q&A. Okay, sounds good. I know today's Saturday. You want to enjoy the outdoors, go out there and shop around, enjoy the good weather. I don't know about Southern California. I assume your weather is normally slightly better than our weather up here in Northern California. We'll see. Okay, let's recap. Historical low interest rates. All the research data indicates the home prices are continuing to go up. Record low inventory, we discussed all that. Slow pace of new construction. Okay, I'm just validating what I just said. Short supply, very short supply, almost no inventory. Isn't that crazy? Lumber prices increases. Oh, see that? Oh, actually, we're coming towards the end. Wow, we're finishing ahead of schedule. So, all right. So, no, we're not. I'm sorry. There's more slideshow. 5 more minutes, okay? Recovery expect to be very, very strong, especially as the vaccine is being accelerated, which is a very good sign. We are seeing signs of recovery very, very quickly. So I'm very, very happy I can start traveling. I have not ever seen 1 year, last year, 2020, where I did not do any traveling, which is very, very rare. So I cannot wait to book all my future travel excursions for the foreseeable future. So here, okay, U.S. population continues to grow. The supply of homes will not be able to keep up with the rising U.S. population growth. When it's economics 101, supply versus demand. When supply is low, demand is high, housing prices going to rise. When supply equals demand, and some point in the future, we have equilibrium, we have a normal market, and we are far from it. Okay, so look at your financial inventory. If you're serious about pursuing rental property, you need to um, prioritize your finances, determine what is your money available from savings account, checking account, from stocks and mutual funds. For the down payment, you can buy with your IRA. Yes, you can. Okay, in fact, let's go over some specific cities where there's a great chance for investors to buy. Rocket City, right? Uh, Huntsville is a good area to buy for the future. Right now, the price is very, very low, 100 to 120 grand. The US Military Space Force, the new branch of service, is being created as we speak. The Space Force is a new branch of military service. By the way, I'm active duty. I'm retired active duty Army with 20 years of service. I retired a number of years ago. This is my second career in real estate, which I started 15 years ago, just so you know. So Huntsville, very, very high tech, very undiscovered. Is a sort of a top secret. Top secret, get it? Space Force, Air Force, they're doing space technology, space war, Star Wars, right? So Huntsville, good area. And over here, Space Coast in Florida, Central Coast, 1 hour east of Orlando, Palm Bay area, tremendous uptick. And Elon Musk, Richard Branson, and Jeff Bezos, they have commercial space programs all set up here in Palm Bay, Space Coast area of Florida. They're going to do, and the military, of course, the military Space Force and NASA, with all that high-tech companies are really up and coming. So they are doing special SpaceX. It's called SpaceX, okay? Elon Musk is spending a lot of money, SpaceX. So they're gonna put man on the moon, man and woman. There will be space travel for regular people like you and us, but you have to pay maybe $1 million to go up in a space in the next few years. Richard Branson, as we all know, he's into the space technology here at Space Coast. You can travel. There are space balloon for tourists. You have to pay a hefty fee to get in, to get up there, a few thousand miles up in space. That could be one of your travel destination for those really, really wealthy millionaires out there. And there's quite a few. Space balloon, right? In a few years, gonna come up from, gonna be, all right? Not many people knows about it. So this kind of single family home, new construction, 1 year away. Yep, take 1 year to, this investors can purchase something like this here in Palm Bay, 235K, rents for 1,800, very good numbers. People get on a wait list, then a few months later, the lot reservation contract, then you wait for the house to be built within 1 year. So that's is a slow timeline to get you to buy those kind of houses. The future ain't what it used to be. Let's talk about Austin a little bit. Austin is the next Silicon Valley for sure. Houses are exploding in Austin. So as an investor, it's good to enter, but housing prices are very high already in Austin. In the downtown Austin is already like median price is like $700,000 in downtown. So you have to buy in the suburbs 20, 30, 40 miles away from the center city, Austin. And even then, there are very little inventory. There are multiple offers, 100, 200 offers per house on the retail market side. But you as an investor, if you could hook up with a builder that have lots available to reserve for investors, some builders are allowed to do that. So you do not have to compete in an open market for on a bidding war. That would be great. But single family home, New builds cost anywhere from 180K to 250K in Austin suburbs. So that is the path of growth for investors. You should not buy 500,000 properties in Austin, but people overbidding in Austin left and right. They 500K come in the market in Austin, 500K resale property, by the way. After several days of multiple offers, somebody gonna bid 700,000. So $200,000 above list price, which is crazy. So don't play that game. Do not play the resale game, bidding war. You buy direct from the builder. If you can find a turnkey provider that will get you the inventory without any need for bidding. So, right? Now you see the value of a turnkey provider. Isn't that cool? You don't have to deal with all the stress of competing against hundreds and hundreds of people per house. Okay, Sunbelt. Buy in the Sunbelt if you really want high appreciation. That's the name of the game. Oracles have already moved to Austin, as we all know a few months ago. Huge news. Elon Musk, Tesla, moved from Fremont to Austin. Elon Musk, the richest man in the whole wide world, and he is building a lot of stuff in Austin. Yep, he got a Cybertruck factory. It's been built outside Austin, Elon Musk, and then Apple have a second campus in Austin. Huge, huge second campus with Apple. 15,000 high-tech employees going to be working there, therefore creating a tremendous demand in Austin for everything. Okay, so Texas, and then all the growth from Austin is going spill over into San Antonio, which is only 1 hour below Austin. For the next 10 years or more, Austin San Antonio corridor will be the mega region. Right now, you may not be able to see the population, the current population of Austin, San Antonio. Current population is around 4.5 million. In about 10 years, 2030, it'll grow to 6 to 7 million. What's the percentage? This is crazy. We're talking 70% population growth in the next 10 years with Austin and San Antonio combined. So the question I'm going to ask of you, do you think the builders going to build enough homes to accommodate another 3 million people addition in the Austin, San Antonio area? Yes or no? In fact, I want you to answer that question. I'll repeat this question again. The population growth in the Austin, San Antonio corridor in the next 10 years, as indicated on this data, will grow from 4.5 million to 6.7 million. We're talking 50 to 70% growth in the next 10 years. Am I correct? 50 to 70% growth in the next 10 years, population growth, people moving into the area. So my question to you is, when we get to the Q&A session, do you think there are enough new supply of homes to accommodate this influx of migration for the next 10 years? So we can talk about that momentarily in the Q&A session. Okay, typical property in the any of the new construction area. There are new construction area in Central Florida, Southwest Florida, Austin, and San Antonio. These are typical prices, right? 181, 200K. The rent going to be 15 to 1700 monthly rent. You put 20% down payment, or you net cash flow, a couple of $100, maybe 200, maybe 300, maybe 400, something like that, right? That's what you get, right? So this is the this is the sweet spot. You buy something less than 250K normally, rent for 1900. That is the type of criteria you should incorporate as a real estate investor to buy this turnkey new construction homes, etc. All right, so all these are similar. Single family home is the, to me, is the best asset class for based on preponderance of data, low supply. You got affluent people renting, still renting. People make a lot of money, they are still renting, so they could very well be your tenant. Down the road, empty nesters, even retirees are renting as well, right? They're coming from the cold weather area into this warm weather places. Rising home prices pushing people to rent. Expected appreciation for the next few years looking very good. A lot of people starting to buy new construction as opposed to old property for very obvious reasons. Okay, so right now is perfect time. What time is it now? To finish up with this presentation and get right into the Q&A. Right now it's almost 11:30. We got almost 30 minutes, plenty of time to Q&A. So I'm going to stop sharing. So at this time, feel free, show yourself if you wish, ask any questions away by video chat or by regular chat typing the questions. So go ahead. I'm very happy to hear any kind of questions you have, and I do my best to answer. Thank you so much. Go ahead. Take it away. Hello, Phil. You're the first one. Can you turn on the audio? Can you unmute yourself? All right. Okay. Okay. Are you ready? Okay, here are some questions. Okay, I see some questions here on chat box. Okay, wow. All right. Okay, can you talk about the pros and cons of investing with friends for a down payment versus by yourself? Can you buy something if it's not invested at 50-50 each? See, Phil, you asked me this question. So the question once again is, what's the pros and cons of investing with friends and family for the down payment versus all by yourself? And can you buy something if it is not invested at 50-50? So let's assume you want to buy a $200,000 property. You need 20% down, assuming you qualify for financing, right? So so your down payment is around 40,000 plus closing costs, another 5,000. Let's say $45,000 to $50,000. You have to ask yourself, do you have the $40,000 to $50,000 to buy this new construction at $200,000 by yourself? That's a question. Or if you don't have enough money, do you want to buy something a lot cheaper in the Midwest, right? For $50,000, an older house, in the Midwest, rehab house, and good cash flow, whatever, and you put 20% down payment, as I indicated earlier, all you need is total out of pocket of $15,000. So those are the two criteria where you could buy under your own name. The best scenario is you buy the house under your name and try not to partner with somebody. When you partner with somebody, then all kind of emotional issues can pop up, right? I mean, partnership can have a history of ending up badly, right? I'm just saying. So the best way to do it is to buy on your own. If you do not have the down payment to buy, you can partner with somebody. You're going to use your good credit. The other person, your so-called partner, will put the down payment, or vice versa. But then again, your partners. Who is your partner? Is your partner your spouse, your significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend situation, or a family member. That way you have a better partnership, obviously, because of the close relationship. But if you partner with somebody who you don't know that well, right? That could be problematic, right? So hopefully I answered that question. Ideally, you do it on your own, if possible. If you have a follow-up question, you may do it on a chat. So let me hopefully answer your question. The second question is, as a 50-year-old, do you think it's worth getting into the long term? I think I'll probably have 15, 20 years of working still ahead of me at most, but would like to supplement my income to more passive as I get older. Yeah, as a 50-year-old, yeah, you still should think long term. You still have 15 to 20 years of working to do before you retire. So 15 to 20 years is a good long term horizon. So think long term. 50-year-old is actually 50-year-old people is typical of my investors. Most people start kind of late, okay? So don't think you are, as a 50-year-old, you don't think you're too old to invest in real estate. Way not true. You are at the prime age, at age 50, to venture into real estate investing long term. So yeah, I mean, some people do it younger, but at 50-year-old, not only you have down payment available for cash, hopefully you have a good job, you qualify for credit, you may even have some IRAs somewhere. You could use your IRA to buy real estate as well. So yeah, there's a possibility. Is very possible. It's good. 15 to 20 years is way sufficient time to allow your real estate portfolio to grow cash flow and appreciation wise. Yes, definitely great time to do it. Okay, if you only have enough money for one investment right now, would you wait till you can have two or more? You know, I already discussed, I already talked about the cost of waiting, right? Because real estate prices rising so much, right? If you, someone, okay, I don't have a crystal ball, right? Clearly, but 2 years from now, giving the supply and demand discrepancy and giving the home rising prices, 2 years is you're gonna lose out by 30 to 40% equity growth. So you're gonna buy at a property could be a lot more expensive in 2 years, potentially. I know it depends on a lot of things, right? So yeah, I would say whatever financial resource you have right now, do the best you can. Get in the game. I don't care what kind of property, in the Midwest property, cheaper ones or the more expensive one, the new construction one in Florida and Texas. Either or, get in the game and wait instead of wait to get in the game 2 years later. You never know. Okay, so just all right. Let's see what else. How do you connect to a turnkey provider? Great question. Again, I'm I'm educator, right? For today's meeting, I cannot give you a personal recommendation. I cannot solicit, right? You know the whole deal. But oh, I got. By the way, with your permission, unless you will say no, I'm going to put your email into my weekly newsletter for a free newsletter, right? You can receive free weekly emails about contents, and you'll find some more information at that time. Make sense? So no one can solicit you. I would not for sure, right? Because of this event. So, but yeah, you can Google turnkey provider Austin, Texas, or turnkey provider San Antonio, Texas, or turnkey provider Buffalo, New York, whatever. You're gonna find something, right? But it's just a beginning process. So do a Google search and go from there. Just the whole world is out there. The internet is out there. The world is out there for you to have access to so much information. But because be careful, right? There's a lot of inaccurate information. There's a lot of unscrupulous provider out there, right? That are not good at all. So do your research, do your due diligence, and go from there. All right. Financing, how to manage DTI ratio will build up to 10 property. Great question. In fact, I'm going to do a podcast coming soon. You're going to see the podcast in about a couple of weeks. I'm going to talk about that very topic, how to systematically buy 10 properties and still maintain the debt to income ratio. I think I know what you're saying. This question could be coming from somebody to have pretty somewhat savvy, Peter. As long as you buy, Peter, as long as you buy positive cash flow properties on each property you buy, the positive cash flow will allow you to maintain your debt to income ratio, because the lender, they can only calculate 75% of your rent to calculate your rent DTI, debt to income ratio, right? If you buy positive cash flow properties, even when the lender will calculate 75% of your income into the DTI, you should have no problem buying more properties on a systematic basis, and it's not going to affect your DTI, debt to income ratio. It's not going to affect your ability to continue to buy as long as you are financially capable, as long as you buy positive cash flow properties. Okay, hopefully I answered that question. Let me see what else. Midwest turnkey, after renovating, and isn't the price too high? Great question. The question is, if I were to buy a Midwest property, if the turnkey provider will incorporate their costs or the rehab costs, or you might be afraid that they're gonna charge you too much relative to the fair market value out there, right? Who asked that? This is a very good question. Peter, you asked me that question. And the answer is, once again, if you work with a reputable turnkey provider, if that's what they do in Midwest, for example, right? They will find a property, they will buy a distressed property in the neighborhood, right, at a very deep discount, right? Then they can use their in-house rehab team to go in the local like a Home Depot store and buy those materials at a discount because they have done so much business with local Home Depot, for example, right? So they do everything at a discount. Then they fix up the property with lower cost than retail, and then they will create a price that are consistent with the fair market value in that neighborhood. Those are the best case scenario of a reputable turnkey provider that they're not gonna gouge you. They're not gonna overprice you for the property because they, you know what I mean? They have a system, they have done it for so long. If you can find a turnkey provider that know how to buy the local property, distressed property at a very low discount cost, and then fix the house at a deep discount, they have a profit margin and still sell you the property with very fair pricing. Okay, so that's a good question, but only if it's a reputable turnkey provider. Some unreputable turnkey provider, they will, and they will force you to buy the house with cash, because cash, you do not need appraisal. They can overcharge you. Those are the bad turnkey provider in Midwest. But if the Midwest properties can be financed, that's good, because the price is right in our world. Some turnkey provider in other market like Cleveland, Ohio, I don't know where, but they do not allow financing because they're gonna sell you a overpriced property because they want all cash purchases. But if a turnkey provider that can sell you a $55,000 property and you can get financing, that is a very good situation, because the appraisal will dictate whether you buy a property that are within the market value in that neighborhood. Okay. All right. So do you have any spreadsheet to crunch the numbers? Oh, the spreadsheet I use, the numerical formulas I show you, I use propertytracker.com. www.propertytracker.com. You know, if you log into the website, I mean, I pay a monthly subscription fee. I forget how much I pay, $20 a month, because I use it every day. But you could do a trial period for that propertytracker.com for few weeks. Then, you know, they could force you to pay or not pay for a subscription monthly. But there are other software out there, and I don't know what they are. Yeah, but yeah, if you have some kind of spreadsheet or software, whether you pay a monthly fee or not, if you're a serious investor, then you need this kind of software to calculate the cash flow, to do the pro forma on each of the property, which I show you. So yeah. All right, so Peter, what's the best strategy to deal with high competition in booming location like Austin? Do you get brokers or wholesalers to bring the deal first? I feel Austin is too late. Where are the places for growth? Great question, Austin. Now, you're right. All the realtors out there, they only deal with the open market, the resale market. They are mostly primarily for owner-occupied buyers, okay? You gonna have to find a realtor in Austin that strictly deal with investors, especially out-of-state investors. That precious value-add realtor, assuming that realtor work with out-of-state investors, you were hoping that realtor have connections to the builders to agree with the builders to allocate some of the inventory for investors only. So if you can find that realtor, I have the connection. I can't give you any more information right now, but it's a gold mine if you can find somebody, because some builders, they allow investors in Austin market, and you don't know who they are, because most of them are shut their door closed to investors because the demand is so high. The follow-up question is it who asked the question? Phil? Did you ask that question? Or Peter? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Peter. Okay. If the market is too high already in Austin? Great question. Of course, not inside Austin. Inside Austin is very, very expensive, not for investments, right? You have to find the suburbs, the outlying areas, 30 miles away, 50 miles away. There are many little smaller cities outside Austin where the path of growth is happening, where there are new homes that are selling for $200K. Yes, and then you have to find whether those builders are open to investors. And most of them are not open to investors, but I have the resources. That's all I have to say right now, okay? So keep that in mind. Yes, still possibilities. You should have bought more than a year ago. Have you bought more than a year ago at 200 grand? That house that you bought a year ago in Austin is $350,000 now. Oh, one more thing. Let me follow up with that question. San Antonio is only an hour and 15 minutes below Austin. I know many people are spilling down to San Antonio, right? Trust me, that is the next new hot market, San Antonio. San Antonio is even bigger than Austin. A lot of people we got to get in there first, okay? That's all I have to say. Okay, keep that in mind, okay? I used to live in San Antonio, albeit 30-something years ago. I was stationed in Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. I was a U.S. Army stationed there. I love my time there. So I know all about San Antonio. I've been there a number of times. I have properties there myself. So if you ask me anywhere in the country, what's the best value for cash flow and appreciation potential as of right now, projecting forward, I will give you my honest opinion is San Antonio, Texas. Okay? Okay, all right. I can't say anymore. All right, so let me see what else. Okay, wow. What kind of incorporation do you suggest for long-term investment? Yeah, okay, in terms of entity asset protection, LLC, limited liability company is the best. By the way, You get the financing first, close on your escrow on financing on the property, then do the LLC after that. You cannot get financing using LLC. LLC come afterwards. Okay, that's all I have to say. Good question. So if I don't own my own home, oh yeah, like I said, at least 30% of my investors over the past 15 years in the Bay Area, they have purchased their first rental property out of state. They do not own their home here. They do not own the principal home here in the Bay Area because it's so expensive. And yet, my investors in the Bay Area, even though they do not own the primary home Bay Area, they still are able to buy one or more rental properties out of state somewhere. So, oh yeah, don't let your not having a principal home here affect your ability to buy rental property, because you can qualify. If you qualify with good credit, with good job, good down payment, it doesn't matter whether you own a principal home or not. You can still get a rental property just like any other investor, right? So, okay. Yeah, again, I have all the people's email. The question is, yes, you will get my free newsletter on a weekly basis, and you will get a lot more content, a lot more real world stuff. It's all free, free membership. I'll put you in there. Don't worry, you get your first email very shortly, including the video recording of this thing. So right now, 11:45, we got 15 more minutes. Any more questions? You can do a. Did I answer all the questions from the chat? All right, come on. Any more questions? You wanna unmute yourself and talk live on your video? You can do that. You don't just mention your first name. There's no one gonna know your last name. Great questions, my friend. Great questions. Oh, okay. Vacation rent. Okay, another question. Vacation rentals, are they worth it? Do the numbers works? Okay. I know I talked with perhaps Phil at the beginning of this webinar. Phil asked me, what about buying a vacation rental? Vacation rental is like a second home. It's just like buying with an owner-occupied type of loan, right? So it all depends on a lot of things, right? Vacation home is for people that, number one, it's a matter of where you're going to buy, right? If you're going to buy a vacation home somewhere in Southern California, that'll cost you at least $500,000 or even $1 million, all right? So vacation home means what? What does a vacation home means to you? I mean, you're going to vacation at your home for a couple of months out of the year, and then rent out the vacation home, short-term rental for a few months, and then 6 months out of the year is vacant, right? If that's the case, you have to know the pros and cons, right? You have to know the numbers. If your vacation home is, if you buy with all cash, that's a moot point, no issue, right? But if you're gonna finance a $700,000 vacation home, 50 miles away from where you live in Southern California, and you're gonna rent it out half of the year, right? Crunch the numbers, right? Then you're gonna have a negative cash flow situation, right? You can have a lot of money out of pocket, right? Not only you have your rental value ratio does not make sense, right? I mean, the number does not make sense. But if you have a lot of money to buy a vacation home, buy all cash, buy 50% down payment, whatever, it can work. So it all depends, right? Okay. Okay. How do you buy foreclosures? Oh, foreclosures is, we're not seeing almost no foreclosures out there. Everything is there's a moratorium of foreclosures anyway, right? And when the moratorium is over, hopefully by this June or something, and even then, a lot of lenders will do loan modification with those homeowners. And since most of those people under distress right now with those homes, they still have equity in their homes. So most of those people, if they were to sell their homes because they couldn't make the payment anymore, they will sell it in the open market. It will never go down the pipeline into a foreclosure. It's just not likely to happen, regardless of what you've been hearing out there. There's a lot of people claim there's a foreclosure wave. No, people still have a lot of equity in their homes. People will save their homes one way or another. Economy gets better. People will make more money. More jobs will be created. You would not, according to my opinion, you would not see much, if any, of the foreclosure in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Very few foreclosures. Mark my word. I could be wrong. Remember I said this. It's being recorded. We're going to come back to this video 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Let's see who's right. Okay. Where's the best places to network with other real estate investors? Wow, that's very difficult, because usually, prior to the pandemic, whether you're located in SoCal or NorCal, you can go to live events, right? Meet with other people on those monthly events, whatever. Those days are gone, especially after the pandemic. So the best way to network is by doing webinars. I do those kind of things, right? I own a real estate investment club. I have several thousand free members like you guys, right? So we do webinars and live events online. There are other companies out there. If you do your research, they do like Facebook live events. One way to network. So you need to find a resource that have the kind of a system that you like, right? You have to find the right fit. Some investment companies, they specialize in flipping. Some other investment companies, they specialize in multi-units or apartment buildings or syndications or buying storage units or doing BRRR stuff, which I will cover that momentarily. But some company, my philosophy is buy turnkey properties in the Midwest. Everything's done for you, or buy turnkey new construction, work with a builder directly, work with a property manager, all in the house. Everything's all done, all under one umbrella. You don't have to waste time doing a lot of research, right? So there's so many ways, right, to enter the real estate investing space. You have to carve out a niche that fit your criteria. Okay, that's all I have to say. There's so much out there. Okay, BRRR strategy, want to keep initial investment and refinance out of next property. What's the best way to BRRR in Texas? Some of you do not know what that means. BRRR strategy means you buy, you renovate, you refinance, then you sell scenario. This kind of strategy most likely can happen in the Midwest area. You cannot do it in the high quality areas like Texas and Florida. Texas and Florida, the kind of investment you do are mainly resale homes in a decent area, in new construction, in a good areas. There are no discount, so you cannot do BRR for the most part in Florida and Texas. In Midwest area, yeah, there are tons of areas you can do BRR because there are a lot of stress homes are still available in the Midwest. You can find turnkey provider in any number of areas in Midwest. You can do the buy, renovate, refinance, and repeat the process from property to property, those kind of things. Okay? Okay, can you use broker to view the property? What specific videos do you ask for and what do you want to see? Can you use the broker to view the property? What specific videos do you ask for and do you want? I don't quite understand this question.
I'll clarify. I mean, when you're out of state and you're using a broker to view a property, you're asking them to send videos and pictures to you. Well, what do you specifically look for?
Oh yeah, good question. I mean, you have the ability, they will provide the address of the property for you. They will provide the cash flow analysis for you, right? That is a very critical data. Beyond that, I mean, you look for the location, the address. The address, zoom in on a specific neighborhood, right? You can match the address with the Zillow or Redfin. Do some additional research. Uh, but that broker should have all that data. They work with investors so much they know what you want, so they will send you information, pretty much what you look for, 90% of what you're looking for, because
Can
they
you
have done most of it for you,
can you
research.
ask them to do a walkthrough so that you could kind of see real time?
Yeah, some will produce the videos. Yeah, they have a walkthrough video. Yeah, pretty easy, especially on a nice, high quality property. Yeah, they have a video walkthrough. Yeah, that's easy. I mean, yeah, these days are technology, they can do that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, any other questions? We are 5 minutes away. I could stay longer. Okay, Peter, what you feel, right? Peter asked, where are the best school districts areas in Texas and Florida that have great reputation? I tell you what, good question. In Florida, historically speaking, the school district are not really that great. Yeah, it depends on location. Okay, if you buy investment property, based on my criteria, 250 grand and below in Florida, you know, the numerical school rating is probably on a scale of 6 or 7 out of 10. C plus to B minus. It is what it is. It will change over time when the migration of people from other areas, they move in and they have a higher quality of education standards. Yeah, in the future, those areas will get better. But in Austin, by the way, your question was, oh, Austin is much better because there's so many high-tech people moving into Austin. You know, you expect to see much better school district already. So a lot of, but the problem is the better school district in Austin, the homes are 800,000, $1 million. so, so you will buy investment property, yeah, unless you want to move there. Yeah, those are the areas you want to go to. But still, even with $200,000 investment type of new construction property in the outskirts of Austin, you'll be surprised. A lot of those smaller cities, the submarkets, their school rating is already pretty decent, like 7 or 8 out of 10, like B rating, B plus rating already. So the bottom line is, because a huge influx of high tech people moving into Austin for the foreseeable future, clearly you will see in a higher level of a school district, right? That's goes without saying, right? Okay, what are the three top investment books or podcasts do you learn from? Three real estate investment books. No, yeah, I have read a lot of books over the years. Um, I mean, mostly everybody, they read, Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? Robert Kiyosaki. I mean, that was 20 years ago, right? But but the way these days, there are so many podcasts are being put up in YouTube videos where where they have these ebooks, right? Electronic books. There's so many authors can put out all these books, but just so many books. In fact, I can't read books anymore. I just look at YouTube videos. You can learn so much with the YouTube videos. There's so many YouTube video real estate, um, people out there putting out daily video, not just weekly, on many different type of real estate. So uh, I can't read physical books anymore. I just do the videos, the ebooks. So it's a hard question these days. Okay, where the high crime neighborhoods are. Oh, look, high crime neighborhoods, there's not that many high crime neighborhoods in Austin and San Antonio because of this epic migration. The migration of people from out of state into Austin and San Antonio, those migration people, they have a higher educational standards. They're gonna improve the school district over time. So I lived in San Antonio years ago, but that was a long time ago. But uh, like any big cities, they're all bad areas. But I do not see too many. That should not be a concern because higher quality people are are, are moving into these two cities, and they can bring with them much higher quality. They're gonna improve most of the neighborhood in these two cities. That's all I have to say. Okay, so don't worry about the high crime. we, we don't. I don't invest in high crime areas anywhere really, not just Texas. So that should not be a big worry. But yeah, well, we are noontime. So any final few questions for any one of you? Any more? So okay, so I tell you what. Once again, I will record this video. I will next few days I will email you the videos, the recording, and put your name on my email newsletter, free newsletter, great content. It will cover a lot more details than what you will hear on this meeting. Thank you so much to give up your half of your great weather Saturday morning to do this. I appreciate your motivation. So hopefully you receive a lot of value, a lot of content, but keep up with your motivation, keep up with your inspiration, motivate yourself, overcome fear. The system is out there. Real estate have changed a lot over the 2 decades I've been doing this. Now, with the technology, with the remote working, with the migration, with the resources, YouTube videos, internet, tremendous opportunity out there for you guys to take the plunge. The benefit is a lot greater than the risk. That's all I have to say. All right, whether with me or anybody else. Thank you so much. This is Siwen Yi. Thank you for attending. Have a nice the rest of the afternoon. Good luck in your real estate financial future. Thank you for attending. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Yi.
My pleasure.